Hey guys, Abby here from Ballerinas by Night. It's been a long time since I've filmed for the channel, and I have a pretty awful reason for that. So on May 6th of this year, I lost my dad. He had lived a really good long life. He had just turned 85 a couple of days before. And of course, if you've been following the channel, you know that I lost my mom almost 2 years ago now. They were 17 years apart, so my mom always assumed that she was going to be alone for a long time without my dad. And when we lost my mom, it was really kind of devastating to him, and he was never quite the same. He missed her so much. It was just, you know, they had one of those kind of fairy tale relationships and fairy tale marriages. So with my dad, he was very, very physically deteriorated. It had been a long time since he'd been able to walk very well. He wasn't very mobile. He was still mentally sharp as tack. And so it was even more frustrating for him because he was fully aware of his body breaking down around him and what he couldn't do. And things had been going downhill really since last year. When we were in Chicago last summer, he was in the hospital having seizures. What we thought were seizures. And that's what happened this year. He started having these seizures, but he would go in and they medically were not seizures because they were not stemming from the brain. And what we found out was he had severe brainstem deterioration. So the first weekend of May, he'd actually gone to the hospital for seizures, and we thought he had suffered a stroke, which we now believe he had. And he ended up having a couple of major brainstem strokes. I got to him, he had been in the hospital midweek. My son was doing a performance, like 3 nights of a performance, and he couldn't miss. My brother came in on a flight on Sunday to where I live, and I picked him up, and we drove 3 hours to get to my dad. And by the time we got there, he was completely unresponsive. And when we talked to the neurologist said that due to the stroke, but really due to the brainstem deterioration anyway, that we were kind of past seeing him recover. So we just kind of made him comfortable, and the following morning, my brother had been with him all night, and he went out for a cup of coffee, and my dad was gone by the time he got back. And it was not, you know, how we wanted things to go, but my mom had cancer, and she had been going through a lot for 4 years, but the last 2 months before we lost her, I've never really spoken about this, but it was really devastating. She suffered a lot. She lost most of her ability to communicate, and it was just this very long downward spiral. And I had just, you know, prayed after that because I knew my dad was getting older and he was not super happy, but he didn't have anything that we could tell was inherently wrong. So you're like, you know, he might live 10 more years. I mean, the man was indestructible. He had survived heart attacks and C. diff. I mean, just all this different stuff that he came through that we didn't think he was going to come through. So you're like, you know, he could live another 10 years. But I had just prayed that when the time came for him, that it wasn't something long and drawn out like it was with mom. And even though it's hard in a different way when it happens that fast, it was in a lot of ways a blessing. So that's what's been going on with me. I'm the person kind of handling his affairs, and both my parents' affairs. There's kind of a lot of stuff to wrap up from both of them. And it's weird, you know, being an orphan. I know I'm an adult, but you still just kind of have this feeling of like, I'm an orphan now. And, you know, you wake up some mornings and you can't stop thinking about them. And I still think sometimes that, you know, like I can go back to their house in Alabama and just go see them and go have a glass of wine and chat. And you realize that that's gone. You know, you just, it's this kind of harsh reality. And you just get these waves of realizing, you know, that you have this whole future without them. And I've felt really, as well, kind of artistically blocked. After my mom died, I wanted to dance. I wanted to throw myself into just as much work as possible. It had been such a hard thing, just the process of losing her, that by the time we did lose her, I was just kind of ready to live, I guess. Because it had just been, you know, weeks and weeks of just day in, day out, just this struggle. And, you know, I feel like in a lot of ways, losing my dad, it's been like losing my mom all over again as well. Because there's just been a lot of realizations about losing her that have hit me since losing him. On my my personal Facebook page, it had been Abby Ballet Coach, and I changed it to My Ballet Life because I'm not really coaching or teaching right now. I don't really want to. I need to just kind of like focus on myself for a while. I still have a lot to do to go through their stuff and get their affairs in order, and so that's taking up a lot of my time. But just emotionally, I'm trying now to kind of actually deal with it, with things that I hadn't really dealt with before. So I'm working really hard on just getting myself into a good place emotionally and mentally. But some days are definitely easier than others. And then you feel guilty because, you know, I have this new house that I'm living in. We're in this new city and it's amazing. You know, I live in this amazing place. It's like a dream. I mean, the house isn't huge, it's 1,200 square feet, but just the area, I just love it. You know, like everything's going so well, and then, you know, like you have this beautiful house, this beautiful place, and some days I'm feeling guilty that I'm still so sad. Despite, you know, you'll have this great day, and at the end of the day, you're like, I had this amazing day, and I'm still just so sad. So that's kind of where I am. I've got a grief journal and a book that I'm working through, and I'm trying not to ignore it. I really ignored everything with my mom, and people would be like, well, you know, don't feel like you can't grieve. And I was like, I just don't really know what to do right now. I have to stay strong for my dad. I have to stay strong for my son. This has affected him. Losing both his grandparents has been a huge effect on him. He was very close to them. So I kind of put one foot in front of the other without even really thinking about it. And I kind of realized when it came to my dad, just how much of a toll that had taken on me, just physically and emotionally and everything else. And it's not easy when you're raising a child and simultaneously caring for dying parents. And I'm trying to give everything to my child. I feel guilty when I can't give more time to him, and I'm trying to do all this stuff for my parents, and I feel guilty when I can't give enough to them. And the last thing I'm thinking about is taking care of myself. When people say, oh, take care of yourself, and it's like, I can't. I don't have time. You know, you know, my day is taking care of other people and putting one foot in front of the other, emotionally and everything else, to hold everything together for them. So I've kind of tried to intentionally allow myself times to break down and cry and just grieve and just be sad and angry. Been very angry. you know, you're angry at, you know, my mom having the disease being taken from me. You know, you're so kind of grateful at the time because you see them suffering and you're like, I just want that to end. But then it's also like, you know, if they hadn't had the disease, then I should have had her, you know, 15, 20 more years. And they met my son not having grandparents. I mean, he has another set of grandparents. And luckily, you know, my family's been really great. All my siblings, I have 4 siblings, we were all there the week that we had my dad's funeral, and I don't think I could have gotten through it without them. And that was just such a huge blessing, because I don't think all 5 of us, I don't know if we've ever all been in the same place at the same time. It was really kind of amazing. My oldest siblings are, you know, 20 something years older than me. And we're spread out all over the US, sometimes all over the world. It's hard for us all to get together. And so that was really great to see them. But that's kind of where I've been, what I've been doing, what I've been up to. I hope to get back to filming for the channel a lot more now. I was in a really good rhythm of making a bunch of videos, so I'm trying to get back to that. And yeah, I mean, that's my life. I just needed to give you that update and let you know that that's where I've been. And so for now, I'm gonna say goodbye, and we'll see you all next time. Comment below with future videos you'd like to see, and I'll try and get to them. Bye.